Hi everybody, before I start talking, I'd like to thank you for taking some time out of your evening to go ahead and click on the video. This is a reoccurring vehicle on my channel. Really the reason why I decided to make it in the first place. This is my 1972 Dodge D200 Pickup. This is the first year for the body style. Body style ran all the way from 1972 through 1993. And a very uncommon truck by today's standards. You see a whole lot more of Ford, Chevy, and GMC to a lesser extent than you do these. So to come across one in any type of condition is something that is rarely seen on the road today. I'm making this video as an update, as the last overview video that I have, which now has over, I believe, 1,700 likes. I greatly appreciated the 1,700 people that watched and clicked on the video. I talked about finding and restoring the trim, as it was missing. And so I ended up finding the trim and sourcing out all of the pieces and having to restore them individually. I do have a separate video on my channel that talks about the restoration of the trim piece and what I did and how I was able to do so. But it's all on. This is an Adventurer SE, so you have this wider style trim that goes up and over the fender wells, which they offered on these trucks from 72 until about 75, 76 I've seen in a couple. And then the trim ended up not being as complex. It stayed just underneath the belt line and followed the rocker panel, and that way it didn't have to be so many pieces that go up and over the arches for the wheels. But if I go up close to it, it has a Woodgrain inlay in it, which is what the Adventurer SE would have come with. This wider style was also on the Adventurer Sport, but instead of the Woodgrain, it would have had a gray reflective, or almost kind of a silverish reflective inlay in it. And excuse the bad lighting, I'm in the same spot as I was for the overview video, the Adventurer SE badge. I did end up recoloring this. I did have it in the past, and you can see in the other overview video I did where I had the Adventurer SE badge, specifically the SE was white. I did a little bit of research and found that that was incorrect. So the entire thing is black. I'm surprised I didn't catch this myself earlier, given the fact that the tinier SE badges that are on the door panels are all black. But oh well, nonetheless. I still have yet to do, again, pardon the terrible lighting, just night right now, but you can see just the general outline of where I have the Dodge badge, this small little cursive badge. I'll have to make a video once I do the tailgate trim as well, but this is the incorrect style trim. It's thinner, but it does have the correct chrome around the taillights. I do have the trim. It was included when I ended up finding all of the other pieces, but I just have to find the clips and get it restored as well as these. Hi there, it's Mac. Just wanted to add this edit onto the video at this time. And looking over the channel at the time of making this video, the original overview I had put up of my 1972 Dodge pickup truck now has over 2,000 views. So big thank you to the over 2,000 people that have watched the video. I also got a comment recently on my more information video on the pickup truck, and it was a gentleman named Sean who let me know just a little bit about a comment that I had made in that video. Just wanted to clarify and sum this up. But he had told me that this third little side marker light here, down at the bottom of the taillight housing, is actually associated with a light group that was a part of the Camper 9000 package, or probably the 7500 package as well. So the reason why I associated it with the SE was because when I had gone to the junkyard, upon having to find a new taillight housing, it was the first time noticing that there were not all three bulbs for all the other taillights of the trucks there. And so the pickup truck that I ended up finding the housing for was an SE, but it did not have the camper badge on the front or even the drill holes for where the actual studs on the back of the badge go through the fender. So that's what led me to associate this little light here with the SE and not with the camper. So just a small little piece of information, wanted to clarify, and I apologize for maybe misleading some people with that regard. So again, big thank you to Sean for putting that in there and letting me know. So now I know. Back to the video. So I'm very happy with how it turned out. It took a great deal of time to really get that old adhesive off. Applying the wood grain over the piece after it was cleaned was not too time consuming. You can see too that I have also tried to expose some of the orange paint that's up on the A-pillar post. A little bit less on the other side. It's taking a long time with just lacquer thinner, but surprisingly, whenever the truck was unfortunately spray painted white, they didn't do really any type of scuff work to get the white paint to stick. And so with just a little bit of lacquer thinner and a towel, I've been able to soak the area until the white paint starts to bubble up and I can wipe it away. But it's a very messy process because the paint doesn't dissolve. It ends up just turning into a million different little bits. So, but the wood grain goes all the way throughout, and there would have been a wood grain inlay on the tailgate as well. I have my original overview video up, so if you'd like more information and I talk a little bit about the history of the model and the options that it came with, you can go ahead and click that video on my channel. Door panels, interior. My goal with this is to try to preserve it as close to original as I can. This truck, unfortunately, despite the fact that being rattle canned with a spray paint white, it was two-tone. The cab top was white, the midsection was this very vibrant orange, and the same white was underneath the trim. You can even see the factory tape line for that. So, this is a D200 equipped with both the Adventurer SE, so you can see that the chrome treatment on the pedals and the wood grain for the dash. I have never seen another 72 Dodge with the Adventurer SE package and have it be a 4-speed. Every other one that I've seen is a automatic, and therefore you did not get the chrome for the clutch and the brake. The brake pad was much longer in width. So everything works on the truck except for the air conditioning. Looking over some of the pieces that I had thought that I was missing, I do have, and it looks as if though I'm just missing the condenser up front. I'll go ahead and pop the hood and show you some of the updates that I've done underneath. So, again, excuse the poor lighting because it's been a little bit and I did not have time to make it during the day, so I'm kind of doing this as an impromptu video. I do have now the original style OEM upper splash guard. This is what you got on the truck if it did not come with a factory overflow jug. I'm almost kind of glad that it came with this instead of the overflow jug because the specific coolant reservoir that sat on top of the radiator is an extremely hard piece to find, let alone in any type of shape. So it was one less extremely hard, almost unobtainium piece to find. And they were fortunate enough that Detroit Muscle, the same company that sells the wood grain stickers that I was able to redo the trim with, also remanufactures this upper splash guard. And what's great about it is the fact that it still uses the same B-shaped push pins as the lower splash guards down in the fender, but there are a couple different perforated portions of it, like here, where there may or may not have been a slight variation of the hoses for the condenser or for the dryer, given whether the motor was larger or smaller. It varied the hoses slightly, and I'm sure it changed slightly by year. So on the website it says that you're able to put it into one of 2 or 3 different variations based on the perforations, which is great. I also redid the heater hoses, so now I actually do have the cable access hooked up to this H piece of pipe here that will open and close the door to allow the coolant to then run through the heater core. And I did happen to see a couple images. I'm not 100% sure that this was correct, but I think it works out at least to my benefit, so I know which one is the inlet and the outlet, but that the upper was red and the lower was black. So I also, just for the sake of cosmetics, decided to get a battery cap, and it just makes it look like a old school style battery with the fluid recharger ports. And I did look up trying to find some of the old dealership sales videos and advertisements that were almost designed to be shown to salesmen to try to tell them all about the features of the vehicle to market it better to customers. And there were a couple images, just mere frames of a vehicle, of a truck with its hood open, that happen to have the yellow battery. So that's why I decided to go with the yellow. There's also green and red depending on which battery group you got. This is a group 24. This is a 360 V8 with factory air conditioning. So pretty rare option for 72. Like I said, all the components are there. It looks as if though I'm just missing the condenser, which was hooked up from this side of the dryer and this other line that comes off down right here, which is really hard to see. I apologize. I still have yet to get the factory wiper fluid reservoir. This is incorrect. This is actually almost for a 98 to 0102 Ford truck, but the previous owner actually was able to splice in the wires so that the windshield wiper squirters do work. I've also tried to use the same lacquer thinner treatment as I did on the A-pillars to also clean the underside of the hood, and I'm slowly working it back, trying to just keep as much of that original paint as possible. Whereas before I was using actually sanding discs, 3000 and 5000 grit sandpaper, but I was running into issues where I was actually exposing the primer. But with the lacquer thinner, I'm able to just remove the white paint without damaging any of the orange, and then afterwards I'm applying a wax. That way it stays as clean as it can be for what it is. So, that being said, don't want to take up any more of your time. I greatly appreciate you watching the video all the way to the end if you did. Now reaching the 10-minute mark. Thank you so much, and take care.